Hi everyone, it's Friday the 20th of April. It's the day before Record Store Day, and I wanted to get into more previews and show you some more Record Store Day releases, but because we're running out of time, this is going to be a special batch video where I'm just going to go through quite a lot of different releases in one, because otherwise it's going to be too late. So I've got a big pile of records here. I'm just going to go through them one by one. I'm starting with Eurythmics 1984, For the Love of Big Brother. Now, as some of you will know, this album was recorded for Virgin Records. At the time, Eurythmics was signed to RCA, but Richard Branson persuaded them to and did some kind of deal, and they did the music for the film. And as is reasonably well known, the director wasn't too happy about having Eurythmics music foisted on him. He wanted something a bit more orchestral. So there was a little bit of a hoo-ha, and Eurythmics went away with their tapes and basically decided, let's make the best out of a bad situation, and kind of reworked the music and created a soundtrack album. And as it says on the record, this is music derived from their original score. It isn't the actual score itself. So it's quite an interesting backstory. So the Eurythmics have got this reissue campaign going on at the moment with Sony, where they're going through their albums one by one. But of course, because 1984 wasn't released on Sony, it's not part of that campaign. But wisely, the Universal-owned record has been treated sort of similarly, and it's got this special release for Record Store Day, which is a red vinyl version of 1984. Now, I was wondering whether it had been remastered, but there's a sticker. This sticker here confirms that it has been newly mastered from the quarter-inch tapes. I don't know who's done it. There's no indication of who's remastered this. Miles Showell from Abbey Road did all the other ones, so I don't know who did this one, but I have played it. Sounds very good. And I'll just show you the packaging. Now, what they've done is they've actually done a little bit of a redesign on the packaging. So I happen to have an original with me here. And as you can see, so the original's on the right and the reissue's on the left. They've got rid of the stylized orange Eurythmics, which I'm a little bit sad about, with the upside down eye. And they've got a bit more of a generic silver Eurythmics thing. There's a couple of extra stars dotted around, and you know, the way that For the Love of Big Brother is written, the subtitle of the album, that's changed a little bit. Tonally, it's slightly more kind of orange, I suppose. It's not too bad, but the back is a bit more different. None of the sort of orange V's are there anymore. Certainly the inner sleeve's quite similar if we compare it. The original's on the right and the reissue's on the left. So you can see it's fairly similar. Of course, this original record is just thin black vinyl, and this Record Store Day version is on red vinyl. I was a bit dubious about the red vinyl, but I quite like it. It looks okay. There's two proper songs on here, Sex Crime 1984 and Julia. And then the rest of it is kind of a mixture of instrumentals and kind of chanty bits and bobs. This does come with a download code, and I expected it to be MP3s, but surprisingly it's WAVs. But the WAV files are all 44.1 and 16-bit WAV files, which is basically CD quality. And I suspect that isn't because they didn't want to give you high res. I suspect that's as high as this album goes because of the way it would have been recorded at the time. I think Touch had similar issues. They were probably using the same digital mixer that they were using when they did Touch. Hence, it probably can't be any better than 44.1 and 16-bit. That's just a suspicion. As I say, I don't really know who did the mastering for this. I think they've done a good job with it. So hopefully after Record Store Day they will reissue it on black vinyl as well. So that's Eurythmics 1984. Now I know there's going to be a lot of demand for this particular record on Record Store Day. This is Pink Floyd, The Piper at the Gates of Dawn. This is a special mono mix on vinyl, and it comes in this really nice outer sleeve. And what you do is you open this up, and then inside I've kept the sticker obviously, Everyone keeps the sticker. You have to keep the sticker. And you open it up, and inside you get a couple of things. You get this poster. And then you get the album. So like some of the other Pink Floyd reissues, it's got these kind of fake fold over flaps, which I always think is slightly weird, but anyway, that's how they've chosen to do it. Nice glossy front cover, polyline sleeve, and gold Columbia label, so it looks great. This is a nice package. I don't know how much this is going to retail for. Hopefully it's not too expensive, but the certainly the outer case here really makes all the difference. Next up, Bruce Springsteen. Now this is his greatest hits, which came out in 1996, I think it was. This is a numbered double vinyl. Actually, it's 1995 it came out. Gatefold double vinyl, numbered. So this album, there's two printed inners. The red vinyl is a little bit more transparent than it was on Eurythmics. Here's the second record. So this contains all the remasters using that Plantagenet process that they always go on about. So it will undoubtedly sound exactly like all the remasters that have come out, which is actually very good. So next up, one of my favourites actually, this is Steven Wilson. This is a song from the sessions of To the Bone, but it didn't sort of make the grade to the final album. Not, I think, because anything to do with the quality of the song, just the kind of style and production of the track. I played this earlier. It has a kind of, the song's called How Big the Space, and it has a kind of, it's a very sort of Beatles-esque kind of psychedelic sort of, you know, flanging kind of Strawberry Fields sort of organ kind of sounds. There's two versions of it on here. There's actually there's a normal song. The lyrics, incidentally, are written by Andy Partridge, but then there's an instrumental variation, he calls it, and it even has some good old-fashioned backwards vocals at the end. If you think Beatles kind of 67, 68, it definitely has that feel to it. And this is on blue vinyl. Oh, I should say the B-side's really good because it's People Who Eat Darkness from the To the Bone album. But the vocals are by Ninette Tayeb, who, as any Steven Wilson fan will know, has sung on quite a lot of his songs over the last few years. Now this is blue vinyl. I have to say, Steven Wilson's packaging is normally exemplary. I mean, I think To the Bone, it was a gatefold. It came with two printed inners, and then it came with two polyline sleeves as an alternative. So I was expecting a polyline sleeve, but this isn't polylined, which is a little bit surprising. But there's the blue vinyl. This plays at 45 RPM as well. A lot of the 12 inches I've been looking at for Record Store Day are 33 for some reason. Soft Cell was, all the Frankie was. But this is good old-fashioned 45 RPM, which is really what you want if you've only got a few songs on the pressing. So that's Steven Wilson. That's out on Caroline International. Right, what have we got next? Let's talk about Prince. Now, Warner's are putting out 1999, the single album version of 1999. Can't really remember what the background to this is, whether it ever actually came out anywhere, but anyway, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's a 7-track version of the album on one vinyl record. Alternative cover. Comes in a good old-fashioned polylined sleeve. This is a 13,000 limited edition, as you can see there. It's not coloured vinyl, but it's obviously 180 gram black vinyl. And that's it. I gave it a little bit of a play earlier on. It sounds pretty amazing. And, you know, it's Prince, so what can you say? This is going to be a very popular one tomorrow. Let's move on to Marvin Gaye. Now, there's probably only one sentence worse than Sexual Healing, the remixes, and that's Graceland, the remixes. If you've been keeping up with events, Paul Simon's album has been remixed completely by modern remixers, and it's coming out soon, but this is a 12-inch pressed on 33 RPM vinyl because it's actually quite a long running time. I think side 1 is nearly 18 minutes and side 2 is nearly 20 minutes. Despite the fact that this sounds quite dodgy because it's got loads of Kygo remixes and modern remixes, there is the original 12-inch mix at the beginning, and there's also an alternate vocal mix, which is, I imagine that was probably on the old 2 CD deluxe. So it's not without merit. It's worth picking up if you're a fan. It's quite nice. Their original productions, original mixes, they're not remixed at all, but then you get 4 remixes after it, including a 9-minute sexual healing suite, which sounds a bit dodgy, but I did dip into a few of the remixes on side B and kind of gave up. But one thing that is nice about this is it's a really nice coloured vinyl. It's kind of a deep burnt browny red. There we go. So it's a nice, it's a nice object. I do like this colour. I'd much prefer this to just boring old red. So that's Marvin Gaye, Sexual Healing, the remixes. Now You Can Dance for Inspiration. Here we go. This is Madonna's remix album from, when was it? 1987. I played a little bit of this earlier on. I mean, I really don't like this record. It's, especially Spotlight, it's pretty dire, but the artwork's kind of classic, iconic Madonna, isn't it? I mean, that's a great image. This is like a kind of Bobby style strip. It does come with a big poster of this cover image. You get the idea, it's like a massive poster. I mean, it has got all the folds in it, but you can't do much about that. But the record's pressed on red vinyl again. It comes in a nice polyline sleeve. There's the sticker that's on the front. This is another limited edition of 12,000 copies. And there you go. So this is more of a solid red, but it's a Madonna limited edition, so by default it's interesting, I think. So that's You Can Dance, but much more interesting than You Can Dance, I think, is this picture disc, where this is Madonna's first album when it was repackaged and rebranded as Madonna the First Album, so not just Madonna, which was the original title. I always preferred the original artwork, but there's something quite attractive about this kind of reproduction Japanese picture disc. I mean, it just looks so good. The packaging's great. So it's basically a picture disc of the first album. And I did play this. It sounded fine. I know it's a picture disc and everyone says it's going to sound terrible, but it sounded okay. It sounded fine. And it was such a relief to listen to the original mixes after dipping into You Can Dance, There you go. So I know this is another one that everyone's going to be looking out for tomorrow. There we go. So that's Madonna the First Album picture disc. Now this is a good one. The packaging for this is absolutely gorgeous. This is the Arcade Fire EP. Now this is their original EP, a sort of demo EP that was recorded back in 2003. And they used to distribute this, at gigs and etc. It's never been pressed on vinyl, so this is the first time. The artwork's been redone, but it's lovely gatefold vinyl. And that's the back. And then it's also pressed on coloured vinyl, so I'll just show you what that looks like. Really nice. It isn't a polyline sleeve, but I was just looking at the track listing. It's got 7 tracks, this EP, and they've remastered it. So even though it's kind of early demos, they've remastered it to make it sound as good as it possibly can. And as I say, this is the first time it's been pressed on vinyl. Now this is quite a big weighty package. This is a 4 LP box set, the Allman Brothers live at the Atlanta International Pop Festival. So this was recorded in July 1970, 8 months before the Phil Maurice show. This has been specially mixed from the multi-track tapes. There's a nice booklet in here. The packaging is nice. I mean, the design, I really like the design. But it's not a gatefold. In fact, it's 4 records in one sleeve, which some of you may think sort of overdoing it. These are the 4 records. It's all on black vinyl. They haven't got polyline sleeves, which I know I keep saying about polyline sleeves, but it's so annoying when you get these horrible abrasive sleeves that the record doesn't slip in and out of. I just don't see there's any justification not to do it. This is the booklet. It's quite a good booklet actually, there's some good photo montages and things. So it's basically a couple of different shows. These 4 records go back in here. So that's the Allman Brothers. Now I'm going to end on some 7-inch singles. Van Morrison's new album with Joey DeFrancesco. This is just a normal black vinyl 7-inch. I'm trying to remember whether both these songs are on the album. I think they are. It has got a little inner sleeve. I'm not going to pull it out, but it's just a black vinyl record. But BMG have got a nice box set here. This is an Undertones box set. This is a really good one to look out for. Well, this is the Undertones, the singles. It's a 13, basically it's a 7-inch box set with 13 7-inch singles in it. These have all been sort of remastered from the original tapes. It does come with this booklet poster at the end, so it gives you a kind of track by track guide. And then a good poster in the middle there, Fergal Sharkey looking cool with his shades. So yeah, so you just go through single by single. They've reproduced the artwork. So I mean, it's quite nice attention to detail here. So this is kind of like the fold out artwork teenage kit. These are all black vinyl, 7 inches. In fact, a few years ago, I don't know if you remember, there was quite a flashy version of this single, My Perfect Cousin. They did a special magnetic sleeve for this a few years ago. I've still got it somewhere. Yeah, I don't know how much this is going to retail for. It's probably going to be in the sort of £50–60 mark, I guess. It's a nice little set, especially if you're an Undertones fan, of course. It's going to happen. So I'm not sure how many other 7-inch box sets. Normally there's quite a lot of 7-inch box sets for Record Store Day, but I can't remember seeing that many on the schedules. So look out for this Undertones box, which is being put out by BMG. I mean, I actually prefer lift-off lid boxes to this kind of, you know, shoving them in at the side, but even so, it's a pretty nice item. So that's it. Record Store Day is tomorrow. Have fun, enjoy the day. I hope everyone picks up something, at least one thing that they were after. I know it can be a pain when you stand in a queue for 3 hours and they haven't got what you want, but so I just hope this has whetted your appetite a bit, given you a little bit of a better feel for some of these packages that are on offer. And have fun tomorrow. So this is Paul from Super Deluxe Edition with the final Record Store Day preview of 2018.